Welcome to the Art of Happiness. I'm Erin. I'm here with my co-host Tam. We are so excited to be back again, and today we're talking about one of Tam's new hobbies, punch needling.
Yeah, we're going to talk about punch needling. You ready for this to be the shortest episode that we've ever done?
I am curious about it. One, I don't know what it is. I had to look it up. And two, well, I'm just curious how you thought of it, because I know when we originally started, crafting wasn't high on your priority list. So let's start off with talking about what is punch needling?
Sure. So punch needling is a method of, you find it like in rugs, like, you know, those rugs that like are really like thick yarn that like you can like really like sink into when you step on them. Mm-hmm. So most commonly, like that's what those rugs are made out of. Okay. And they have like, you just take like this little needle and you punch it through a cloth. And that's how you do it. Okay.
Right? Is there a pattern you follow?
Yes.
Okay.
So, God. Okay. So I don't even know where to begin with this, Erin. Well, seriously, this will be the worst episode we've ever recorded. So let's talk about how. So my initial reason for picking this, right? Because like you said, crafts are not on my high priority list or interest list, but I was really interested in finding a hobby that allowed my hands to be busy, like when watching, you know, my latest Netflix show, you know, instead of playing on my phone, right? I was just trying to find something that was almost kind of like a task that I can do while also being distracted by like a really good movie or something, because the weather is getting cooler, you know, and I thought, let's be inside and do it. So I was like, that's what I'll try. And I stumbled upon that specific thing because I went to Target, and they've got this whole wall of like art kits, right? Like like hobby kits, essentially.
Mini kits,
right? And there was a punch needle one, so I was like, okay, well, I did a little YouTubing and Googling, and it really does look like it's a pretty idiot-proof.
Is it?
I don't know, Erin. You know, you have those moments in life that make you question your intelligence, and I was like, maybe punch needling challenged me mentally. So anyway, I got a hobby box, and it was a ghost pillow, right?
Okay, perfect for Halloween.
Yeah, I was like, I really want like a new pillow for my couch that's Halloween themed, and I was like, this is perfect. Okay, so this will combine two interests, and watching like these tutorials, it seems like a very forgiving medium, because what you traditionally use is what's called like a monk cloth. Okay. And it's like a khaki color, and it's kind
like
of
a canvas kind of?
Okay. It's a really durable little thing. And you so you use this needle, which so the needle, you actually thread the yarn through the needle, okay? But then at the end of the needle, the needle is shaped like opened on one side and then a hole on the other side. So you push the yarn through the needle and then through the little eye hole on the one side. Okay. So does
it take a lot of focus then?
Well, they give you like this little tool that kind of helps you thread the needle through there, but I have longer nails, and my longer nails was not allowing me to grasp the thread like I needed to, and I probably should have cut my nails, right? But I'm vain, and I was not going to do that. So I was like so frustrated with this thing. So you use this tool, and then you just punch through the monk cloth. And what made me think that this was going to be a task that was obtainable for me is the fact that it doesn't require like tying the thread in a knot. It literally, like, by punching the thread through the material kind of grabs the thread and holds on to it for you. So there's no need to worry about like doing these tricky knots or anything like that. So I was like, okay, this looks like beginner level. It looked idiot proof. So it's like, I can't possibly mess this up. And if you make a punch through the canvas and you don't like that, you can pull it out and then just like use the needle to scrape the monk cloth back together to cover the hole.
Oh, interesting.
And then you just go right back in it again. So like, it really was just like it just seemed in theory really easy to do. So I get this pillow, and I'm trying to do this pillow. However, the pillow kit that I got, it didn't have like the traditional monk cloth in it that I had seen all the YouTube videos use, right? It was more like couch material, which makes sense, right? Because it's supposed to be a couch pillow. And so like when I would punch a hole in there, the thread was thinner, the needle was incredibly thinner. So like I kept stabbing myself.
Jeez.
Kept stabbing myself, and it just was not looking pretty. And then if I'd make an error, I couldn't scrape the thing back, right? So
do you think that potentially it was just because it was an inexpensive kit and maybe it was not the best intro?
Absolutely.
Like it would have been better to have the real materials?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to talk to Tamara, who tried to push through that for 2 weeks, because I was like, I'm going to finish this pillow. And it got to the point where I was so angry about it, because I was like, I need to do it. I have to have something to talk about for my episode, right? So it got to a point where I started like trying to like treat myself to a glass of wine when I tried to argue with this thing. And what I ended up doing is developing a drinking habit. Like I didn't enjoy this stupid pillow, which in looking at the directions, so the box just says make this pillow, but then you get in the directions and it's like, this is for like intermediate level. And I was like, well, I'm not intermediate, I'm novice. So I rage quit it and I pout, because so far, I've been lucky enough to be able to do, like, basically just buy the basics of a hobby, right? Because I'm trying to do it in, like, a frugal, budgety mindset, right? Like, I'm trying to do, like, what would the average woman do? Like, she would just spend, like, you know, a couple bucks on, like, a tool and just try to figure it out, right? So I'm at this crossroads where it was like, do I try to go back and find the actual tool and invest in like the real tools to do the real thing, or do I accept defeat and move on? Well, I accepted defeat and moved on. So didn't even think about it for a week, and I was like, how am I going to talk about it the whole episode about this pillow? Fast forward to that a little bit later. I am with my youngest, which I think I've talked before, my oldest daughter, Lennon, has been like right there with me doing all these hobbies, right? Whereas June's been more of like super excited to just be there and play music for me while I do it, right? Like she gives me entertainment value while I'm doing my hobbies. We were back at Target. We find a smaller DIY kit from the same company that actually looked like it had the monk cloth.
Okay.
And June was like, can I have that? And I was like, sure, good luck. So I get it for her. It's just to make a keychain, right? And June sat down and literally busted out 4 of these things.
No way.
Like, no issue. No problem whatsoever. In fact, she was so... I don't think I've ever seen June just sit down and do something like that. I mean, outside of drawing, right? But like, this was like the first hobby that she's witnessed me do that where she was like, okay, I want to try that. Like, she's not the type of person to just do something for the pomp and circumstance of it. Like, she has to genuinely be interested and then she's going to do it. And I was like, well, I mean, at the very least, we just found June's hobby.
Yeah.
But then now I'm at this part again where I'm like, okay, so she would probably like to take this to the next level. Yeah. So do I buy the actual tool?
Right. So are you going to?
Yes.
You are? No way.
But like, the thing of it, Erin, is why am I willing to do it for her, but not do it for myself?
Oh my gosh, Tam. That's exactly what I was thinking when you were talking about that. And, we recently had a conversation with someone in an interview about this. And why is it okay for our children to spend really unlimited amounts sometimes? We don't even think about it when we're buying something for them, or our husbands who have hobbies. They will go spend significantly more. But as moms, we feel like we need to be frugal or save it for everybody else. Like, why do we do that?
I don't know. And it just like, but it was so glaring in my face in this particular project, because when it was me being like, well, maybe I'd have a better shot at really trying a hobby if I actually bought legitimate tools as opposed to just buying a DIY kit, But I talked myself out of it, because I was telling myself, I was like, I don't need to do that. I need to be frugal. I need to be smart about that. Halloween costumes are coming up, and I'm going to need to make sure to be focused on those budgets, right? But then as soon as June was like, I'm into this and like I want more, I was like, absolutely, like let's go. Like we're going to the store and we're getting.
So did you end up getting the supplies?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So how much did the real stuff cost?
So it was totally like reasonable. Like I would say like under $50.
Okay.
And honestly,
did you go to Michael's or somewhere to get them? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, I have a lot of the materials here because of the fact, like the yarn more specifically. I had a lot of the yarn that we could choose from because of just various crafts we've done around the house. So that helped with the budget. So it really wasn't even like a major investment. Right. But like as I'm literally purchasing them, I'm literally thinking to myself, I was like, I cannot believe that even with me having this podcast, even with, me trying to put myself first, you
deserve it, Tam.
I still can't do it.
That is ironic, right?
It's very ironic. And it's just one of those things that I feel like, we're trying to help our fellow women, right? Like we're trying to be like, you can do this, but just also know that sometimes we kind of mess it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even still struggle. Like it's really hard to break down a conditioned mentality of putting everybody else first. Yeah. Like it really, we've been doing this for 6 months and I haven't overcome it, right? Like I'm trying.
Agreed.
And I do feel like I've made progress.
Yes.
But I am still struggling with making sure to give myself credit for interests or things that I want to try. Yeah. Because like I know, when Pat dives into an interest, if it's something he thinks like he's really going to be interested in, he doesn't hold back. Right. Like he goes for it and buys all the tools that help make it easier for him to try to break into it. And
do you think the difference is that you weren't sure you were going to like it? Although does Pat try stuff that he's not sure he's going to like and go all in, or does he prototype it first?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask him that because from my perspective, it seems like he just goes all in, right? It seems that like he's just a man of many talents. Yeah. And then if it's something that he likes, he just gets all the stuff and goes for it and does it well. Yeah. But maybe if I, interviewed him a little bit, maybe I would find that maybe that's not always the case. Maybe those are the only ones that I'm visually seeing because I'm not there for the, the think tank of it.
Right. I wonder, it makes me think about too, like, would it be helpful to have, like, you guys have a conversation to have set like a budget, a hobby budget?
Yeah.
So then you don't feel so restricted or guilty about, and then it just gives you, I don't know, a little more freedom to not feel,
I think that's a good idea. I feel that what we should do is have like that hobbiness, like put aside so that like when it does come to this that I could be like, let's explore that. Because I know that the limitation didn't come from Pat.
Right.
It was clearly my own self-imposed limitation. Yeah.
And I do the same. So I think that's probably pretty common.
Yeah.
So back to the punch needling, did you actually end up going and trying the new material, the good materials? Like the actual, you did? Okay.
Yes,
and so how did you feel about that?
So going back and trying it myself, so using like the monk cloth is far more forgiving, as I said before, and then the needle is actually bigger and thicker, which my longer nails didn't struggle with as much to kind of get the needle and get it threaded. And this is going to sound really sadistic, but like just look the little punches, like stabbing this thing. Like, man, what a fun like rage activity. Yeah. Do you see those rooms that they create where like you just take a hammer and just beat everything and that'll help you? Try punch needling because it's just little jabs that you give the monk cloth, and then it's very satisfying pop sound that comes out of it. But again, there's no like. There's not a lot of like tying that goes along with it.
So it doesn't take a lot of skill.
It really does. I mean, my 5-year-old was, not only was she punching the needles, but like she very quickly learned how to even change thread colors. So like you trim and then put a different thread in there, right? And she was doing that all by herself. So like it's so easy, even a 5-year-old can do it.
So, I mean, there's a lesson there. It sounds like it wasn't that you weren't skilled at it or, had some failure. It was just maybe it's a lesson for the future trying new hobbies to maybe not go the cheapest route necessarily or the bare minimum, right?
Yeah, don't
set yourself up for failure.
Don't set yourself up for failure. Yeah. And like just because it's a hobby kit, like maybe that's not the best way to intro yourself into a task. Like I do believe that like some things can be self-taught, but there's also some things that can't be self-taught. And and if you're trying to self-teach or something and you're finding failure in it, don't necessarily just rage quit like I did or go to drinking like I did.
You didn't truly quit because you did come back to it. I mean, obviously it was because of your daughter,
Yes.
but
Right.
still, that's
It is
a good thing, right?
And I will say that even with coming back to it, is it my hobby? No. I think I really like that June found it.
Yeah.
Because I think the moral of the story of all of this is that through my this hobbiness, we found a hobby for June.
Yeah.
Like she's already in the point where she's already got music playing and just goes in the zone. She's locked in and she's just punch needling.
Is it something, I guess now that you've done it, if you've had a little more experience with it, is it something that you can do other activities with? Because that was the whole point in the beginning. Like you think you could watch TV and do it once you kind of get the hang of it?
Yeah, I could totally, in fact, I was picturing, June in the future, because I was like, this is her hobby. Like we've got something. So I'm like trying to picture her as like 13-year-old June doing it and 20-year-old June doing it. And I could easily see this being something where you do just kind of sit on your couch and you just punch needle away, or you go on a road trip and you're just punch needling away. It does look like a really good, busy hand type of hobby.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it can be good for beginners. Yeah. Not that expensive to start.
No.
And then
don't do a hobby kit. Go straight for just buying the tools on this one.
And then has this changed your view on craft type hobbies?
No. I just
it's just not your jam. It doesn't seem like.
I don't know if it's not my jam or if I just haven't found the right one.
Yeah.
But because I do feel like I'm longing for something that has color. I do feel like I'm longing for something that is giving me creativity. I just don't know that I've found the girl yet. Yeah. Like, where's that person?
Yeah.
Where's that craft?
Well, that's you're exploring.
Yes.
And you've realized you can check that one off the list.
That one's checked off.
I guess overall, it sounds like the rating won't be very high, but how would you rate this hobby on engagement? Back to our 5, rating things. We got engagement, enjoyment, skill development, social interaction, and stress relief.
Well, so going to the social aspect of it, it was a very, solo activity, which, as we've come to learn about myself, is maybe I'm not so interested in the solo activities. Maybe I am interested in the more like group activities. Although I feel like I would want well-rounded, like one group, one solo. Solo, I feel like, I did enjoy doing it by myself, I guess, mostly because I was drinking, and that really helped. So I was like, this will be a good activity. But I feel like overall, I'd probably give it a 3.
Yeah.
And I give it the 3 just because of the fact that I am super excited that we found something for June.
Yeah.
Like, she's so into it, and she just gets locked in, and she just doesn't want to stop. So that's exciting. But for me, the engagement, I really do think it was the pillow's fault.
Yeah.
Because I really did have to focus on trying to get the needle through the material and keeping the thread in there, and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah. Well, it really does sound like you just had like a bad bad materials.
Yes. And so rage quit. Went back and revisited it. So the moral of the story is, folks, is that maybe give something a second chance. Maybe you might like it. Maybe you won't. I found it made more sense going with having the actual tools to do like a full rug, as opposed to doing a DIY kit. But again, the box did say in the instructions that's for more intermediate level, which I very much am not. So maybe
is deceiving.
Maybe someday June can revisit the box pillow. That's exactly what we should do. Is as June gets older, so we have to keep this podcast going until she's at the intermediate level, so we can report back on the pillow.
Wow, Tam. Well, so I think I know everything I need to know about punch needling. So thank you.
You probably learned nothing about punch needling.
No, thank you for sharing that with us. If it sounds like something that might be interesting to you, it sounds just like it's pretty easy to start. So, something to consider. And we'll put some footage of this on our socials probably. Do you have some?
Probably not. No, it's probably a lot of anger and All
right, fair enough. Well, thank you for joining us today on The Art of Hobbiness.
Yes.
For this short topic on punch needling.
Very short topic. Did we fill enough time?
Yep.
I don't know.
We hope you join us next time, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to The Art of Hobbiness. Be sure to leave a review and rating. And for a little extra Erin and Tam fun, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Pinterest for behind-the-scenes footage of our journey to find hobbiness.